Hey, this is Mike from Mike Buys Houses. I wanted to share a recent conversation I had with a homeowner. He didn't have a lot of equity in his property, but he needed to sell his property. So he was wondering what should he do, what are his options? And I told him he could consider listing his property without a realtor. So traditionally, why would you want to list your property without a realtor? There's two reasons really. One is you want to save money. So in his case, he didn't have a lot of equity. So he wanted to save every cent he could during the transaction so that he didn't have to pay to sell his property. And the second reason usually is that you want to control the whole way that the sale is done. If you want to control the marketing of your property, when the open houses are scheduled, what showings are allowed, what offers are considered, the responses to those offers. If you want to control all that, then listing without a realtor is a great option for you. Um, but then we went on to talk about what does a realtor do, and what is the reason that they make that money in a transaction, and what value do they bring to you. So that's what we talked about right here. So to complete a transaction for a property, a realtor actually does a lot for you, and that's why they make 6, 7, 8% sometimes on the closing. So what they do first is they're going to help you price the property. They're going to know your neighborhood. They're going to know what sold recently in the area that's similar to your property, and what properties are going for in your area. Specifically, they'll run the comps, and they'll figure out what the price per square foot is for your property, and then look at how big your house is, and they'll be able to determine what your property is worth at that point. After that, they're going to be able to help you market your property. So they're going to list it on the MLS, which is a huge service that other realtors use to then find other people who are looking to buy properties in your area. So they really help connect you with buyers. So these are two huge things that you're going to have to do on your own if you're going to list your property by yourself. So getting that exposure, you're going to have to list your property on Zillow, on Facebook, on Craigslist, and make sure you're continuously updating that, because in order to get the same amount of demand that you can get from the MLS, you're going to have to do a lot of work with your property. So the first two things that the realtors really do to help you to sell your property is to price it appropriately by knowing your neighborhood and looking at the comps, and marketing your property effectively using the MLS. The next big thing that realtors do to help you sell your property is actually deal with the buyers, the potential buyers, the realtors, all that stuff. So if you're going to list your property yourself, like I said, on Zillow, Facebook, Craigslist, all that stuff, you're going to be fielding the calls. You're going to get the tire kickers, you're going to get the scammers, you're going to get the low ballers, and you're going to get the actual buyers. So you're going to have to do all the weed work, figuring out who is worth your time to talk to, and then you're going to have to schedule the property to those people that are worth showing your property to, and you're going to have to field the applications, make sure that you find buyers who can actually qualify for your property, and then at that point you're going to have to negotiate with those buyers. So that's another thing that the realtors do for you. They're usually the communication between you and the potential buyers. But if you're going to sell your property yourself, then you're going to be the one negotiating with the buyers. So you're going to negotiate any inspection clauses, the earnest money, the price. There's a lot of things to consider. So that's all going to be on you if you list your property without a realtor. And then after that, so what you're going to have to do is contact a title agency in order to close. That's another thing that realtors usually have connections for in your neighborhood and are able to help you with. But if you're going to sell your property by yourself without a realtor, you're going to save on the commissions. But this is another thing that you're going to do. You're going to have to coordinate the transaction with the title agency. It's really not that difficult, but it's going to just be another thing on your to-do list that you got to get done in order to sell the property. After that, you're going to go through the inspection period, do any repairs that the homeowner may request, or the homeowner's real estate agent may request. And then at that point, you're going to do the seller concessions they may request, anything that needs to get done at the last minute in order to get the deal done. And then congratulations, you finally closed the property without a realtor, and you were able to save that 6 to 8%. It was a great move, but it was a lot of work. So those are kind of the things that a realtor does to help you sell your property effectively, and that's why they earn so much in commission. But if you have a situation where it may not make sense to sell with a realtor because you don't have a lot of equity and you don't want to pay to sell your property, then we may be able to help you out. And this is kind of what I talked to this homeowner about. So in order to best describe how I could help this homeowner, I told him about this guy that I know who was trying to sell his Ford F-150 for a while. He had built his business with this truck. He had watched his family grow up in it, and it really meant a lot to him. And he wanted to sell for $5,000. The Kelley Blue Book, based on the condition and everything, it was probably worth more in the $4,000 range. So he really wasn't getting the demand that he was looking for. But after a few weeks, his wife gave him the motivation, let him know that he had to sell it, had to get it sold. So he reached out to me with, some questions. He was trying to think how he could get it sold for $5,000, and I told him I could help him get it sold for 7,500, and that's exactly what we did. So basically, he sold his truck by collecting payments, and that's something that I can help you do if you're looking to sell your property. So what he does is he collects $250 a month, every month in his mailbox for 30 months. So he actually sold the truck for $7,500. So he sold it for more, and he keeps collecting the payments. And every month he sees that check and he's like, "Oh man, reminded of the truck, the good times, everything like that." So it really worked out well for him. He was able to sell for more, and that's how I can help homeowners who don't have a lot of equity in their property. We also do this to help a lot of landlords who are looking to sell their rentals. These are some options that we're able to provide homeowners. So if that's something that interests you, then you can give me a call at 267-984-4765 or visit us at MikeBuysHousesPA.com. We look forward to helping you. Have a good one.